Hi, I'm Nate Bauer with A.M. Leonard, and today we're visiting one of our local partners, Natorps Nursery and Landscaping here in Mason, Ohio.
Liz, you were one of the first in the area to use root pouch. What were some of the features that appealed to you, and how has it worked for you?
Well, the reason I was interested in the root pouch, I do a lot of research on, the health of tree roots. Growing in solid-sided pots is it's a no-brainer. That's the way we've produced plants forever.
Right.
It's easy. We know how to use that system, but it sometimes can produce root defects, especially in woody plants. And there's been a lot of press on that, and I get pushback from customers that have wanted trees grown in some kind of root pruning product, something that's going to produce a healthier root system. I've never been happy with the fabric pouches that I've seen other places, limitations on what you could grow, how you could grow in them. So when A.M. Leonard introduced me to the root pouch product, I immediately knew that was something that finally we could probably use in our pot and pot operation. I was impressed by how sturdy the fabric seemed to be, and especially those handles, because when you're growing in a pot and pot, trying to get a fabric pouch out, you almost have to have knuckles of steel to lift a big heavy tree. So having those handles on there was like a ding ding. And so I was immediately ready to try it at that.
Okay. So how have you used the root pouch here?
Well, we tried it on a limited basis, and we tried it in both in the pot and on spray stakes in our Japanese maple growing area. We took one crop and did side-by-side comparison just to see how they did. And then I also took some of the fussier native trees and tried those in the root pouch just to see if the better aeration would help them aggress.
In your side-to-side comparisons, what did you find between root pouch and the standard process?
Right. We didn't necessarily see a difference in the top growth of the two. What did impress me is when we pulled these pouches out, and they fit actually tightly down into the sockets. So you don't necessarily get that air pruning when you use them down in a socket pot. But we had just and serviceberry was the crop that we tested. They're not exactly aggressive rooters. And when we pulled this pouch out, it was just covered with fibrous roots that were growing through the fabric. What that told me was that this really was a healthy way to grow a root system, and also that fabric was not going to be a barrier to the plant if you decided to plant it out, without removing the fabric. And that's the next thing that we want to try. We're going to take some of that crop and plant it out and see how biodegradable it is, and provide all this data to our customers who might want to use the pouch that way.
So how have your customers responded to root pouch?
Well, like I said, we did very few crops this first spring. It was our first trial. They're very excited at the prospect. One of our largest customers is a community tree planting group out of Indianapolis. They've been asking a long time for this product, and so they're anxious for us to produce a lot of the native trees that they like to buy in the root pouch.
So when do you expect to be able to bring that to your customers?
Well, of course we have the serviceberry, we have sourwood, and we have American beech in the pouches now. Those will be ready for next year, and then with our spring production season we'll be doing a lot more of the native trees in the 10 or 15 gallon root pouch size. Those would be ready to ship next fall.
Have you seen the advantages of root pouch in storing and handling?
Well, we ordered just a small sample this last spring so we don't really have data there, but it always occurred to me that probably that was going to be a huge benefit. The last shipment of 10 and 15 gallon pots, an entire truckload was needed to bring in maybe 3,000 pots. If 3 small bales of these root pouches would accommodate the same production capacity, that would be huge.
Yeah. So a little better for the environment too, not having all the plastic.
Yeah, that was the other pushback that we get from some of our community planting groups is, we got all this plastic, and we've tried to make them feel better by taking the pots back and reusing them and being responsible in that way, but you're still talking about shipping stuff back and forth.
Liz, let's change gears a little bit. What do you consider most important in choosing a fertilizer?
Well, as a horticulturalist here, from the time I arrived, finding the best way to grow plants has been my main focus. And especially in the potted trees, we have done fertilizer trials almost from the day that I arrived here. Finding the right way to grow a plant, not pushing lush growth, but pushing strong growth, and meeting your objectives and still meeting your timing objectives on the crop and still producing a really strong, healthy plant has been important. So, we've gone through at least 3 or 4 fertilizer trials. Fluorocan is the third material that we've used in the potted trees. And what I'm looking for is something that gets going in the spring and gives me strong growth, through the July season, and then just really maintains a superior looking plant in August and September as you go into those fall sales, but is ramping down so that we don't have any lush growth, we don't have any plants that aren't ready to go into winter. So really looking for that right release profile.
So of all the trials you did, you found Fluorocan provided.
Like I said, we've gone through a couple of different fertilizers. We did some trials with Fluorocan last year, and besides actually seeing some improved growth over what we were using, just all the plants looked great late into the season. Some of the problems that we saw with edge burn on the leaves that I always assumed, even though the tests weren't conclusive, that we had problems with potassium not lasting late into the season. None of those things were there. And we got so many compliments this year on how good our trees look.
So with Fluorocan, which formulas are you using?
Well, currently we're only using it as a top dress in the trees, and it is a 19410. It's fully coated. One of the big reasons that I went with Fluorocan is that here I could get a fully coated product, well balanced, great minors package, at the same price that I was getting a blend before. So here you've got a product, uniform granules. You don't have to worry about the people, sampling the fertilizer properly when they put it down. So it was easier for the crews to use.
How would you rate Fluorocan, 1 to 10?
I would probably put it in the 8 to 9 range. Like the Olympics, you don't want to give your 10 out up front, but it meets all the goals for what I was looking for in a fertilizer.
How did you end up using the 19410, or what led you to that formula?
Well, Am Leonard arranged the initial meeting with Chad Keel with Fluorocan, and being a chemistry nerd, Chad and I had a lot to talk about, and I I talked about my concerns where I had seen through testing in the past. Our products fell short, and that was the formula. We always used to use higher potassium, and he said, well, if you had it fully coated, you wouldn't have to use that higher level of potassium because it would be there for you late in the season. So that was his suggested formula, and what I really appreciated was the fact that A.M. Leonard was going to be able to warehouse this stuff for us, so we didn't have to jump through all the special hoops of ordering deadlines and stockpiling this fertilizer. It's there, and if I miscalculate or we grow more in the season than we initially planned on, it's there in the warehouse.
So you say you do mostly top dress here?
Right. With the trees, because of the volume of media we go through in a very short period of time, we don't incorporate. We buy the media in, so we just top dress. It works well for us. I would like to see incorporation trialed in some of our small container production, and we haven't done that yet. I think it would be a great product to try. In the past, we've had some problems in cold, overcast winters of the release not ramping up fast enough. And you've got that little teeny window to hit in April and May, and you want all your plants big and beautiful and ready to go. So I think we can make that happen. We don't, as far as top dressing, we don't use an applicator. We have scoops, and that works great, like I said, with a nice homogeneous product. You don't have to worry about settling, and it's been easy for the guys to apply.
Good. Well, Liz, thanks for your time. Thanks for letting us come out and visit. And here's to a long partnership with A.M. Leonard and Natorps.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed it. I really appreciate the busy person. I appreciate when somebody brings something new to my attention, and root pouch and Florican have both been winners for us.
Good.
Great. Thanks.
A.M. Leonard, experience with thousands of other horticultural professionals already know. Great tools, great service, great value.